Hey everybody, now welcome back to my channel Planet Build, and welcome to part 15 of Sunshine Scandinavia. Now, today is the day that we're going to work on the newest section for the Coral Reef district. Now, I did some preparations for that one, as I usually do for any new areas that I'm going to start. And today I'm going to showcase you guys the things that I did already for that new section, the plans for that section, and also the theming I'm going to use for that section. First of all, we got the deep dive coasters, I call it. Now this is the dive coaster that I wanted in the on the backside of this this mountain over here, and I had to adjust it a little bit, mostly in height, just to have the coaster have enough speed to run through its track. And I also had to reroute the monorail track for this one, because I got the loading station on the backside of this mountain, and I got the unloading station inside this cave over here. So you got the monorail running through the mountains right now, as for the path work for the guests. The entrance for the deep dive coaster will be over on this section, which eventually takes you on this side over here to eventually start riding the roller coaster over there. Now, I also did a custom loop in this coaster because there was not a standard roll or looping or a non-inverted track element in there, which would fit perfectly for this situation over here. So I added in a custom loop. The coaster does exceed the G limits, but I do believe the guests will ride it eventually. So I'm quite happy with this one. Then you got a whole section over here, which will have to use a lot of theming to get this area working. But I laid down the path work for this one. You got the entrance to this section over on the right side. But guests can also use the pathwork from the first and second Coral Reef district area on this side to eventually end up over here on the backside of this new area for the Coral Reef district. Then I placed down 3 flat rides, which in my case I call the coral watching. I got it all ashore, and I got the refinery runner over on the front side. And then last but not least, we got the tropical Stormchaser, sorry for my bad pronunciation on that one, but this is the tropical storm racer. I said it wrong, didn't I? It's the tropical Stormchaser. So this one has 2 loops over the entrance area for this new section. This is a high-speed roller coaster, and I'm quite happy with it because this is the first time I actually build a custom coaster where all 3 elements are in the green. So you got the excitement, you got the fear, but you also got the Nassau in the green. So I'm quite happy with that one. I'm kind of curious what this one does with the crowd, with the guests. You got the first launch element, which brings the coaster into the first loop, and then eventually you got the second one over underneath this path, which goes over into the second loop on the entrance for this area, and then eventually goes back into the station area. Now the entrance for this one will be on the back side of the coaster, just to give myself a little bit more space to create some theming around this one. As I said, I laid down the pathwork. I dug out some holes in the pathwork for some scenery pieces, and as you can see, I sometimes lowered the surface, and that's also to have some theming underneath the pathwork. And the theming for this one will be a lot of pipe works, and I can use those pipe works to combine with some water elements and some smoke elements. I've already prepared some foliage use for this area and the types of trees and plants I want in this area, and also I'm going to use the tropical rock for this one. And I created some custom weird looking plants for this section because I do believe I have to use some pieces that I used in the first two sections of the Coral Reef District, and also have them come back in the second one. So I'm going to use that with the coral, and just to create a little bit of a more tropical, weird tropical elements to it. And they also light up at night because this is the coral, so I'm quite happy with that one. And then in between of all those foliage, I'm going to use those small resort lampposts, which I downsized all the way to their minimum. I'm not quite sure, but I guess those may provide as some small lights, but also as some small little details for this foliage collection. Now, I'm not quite sure what kind of types of walls I'm going to use and stuff like that, but I guess the pipework can give me a lot of detail in this section. For this video, we are going to work on the theming of the, here we go again, the tropical Stormchaser, and I think that one gives me a lot of items which I can also use in the rest of the theming of this area. So let's go ahead and switch to the speed build section, where we're going to work on the tropical Stormchaser coaster over here. Now, first of all, I want to thank you guys for watching my channel, for watching this series, for watching Sunshine Scandinavia, and for all the nice feedback that came on the Sunshine Scandinavia build. So I'm very grateful for that one. Now, I do need to say that this video just took me longer than any other video, and that is mostly because I did not have an idea of what I'm going to build over here, so it took me quite a long time to actually create this new area with the pathwork, and then I had to put in those two coasters. And I didn't showcase the build of the coasters in this video, and that's mostly because it takes me so long to create a custom coaster, and that's just something I do need to do in my spare time, and take a look at the coaster from all angles and trying to figure out each detail that I'm going to put in this coaster. So I think that just takes too long to even record it and to upload it for you guys. So now, as you can see over here, I already laid down some, already put down some pre-built buildings which are in the game, and those are mostly the aquatic buildings, and also some different types of pipe work. This area will be a less dense area when it comes to the amount of scenery in it, or I have to say that differently. It will be less foliage and more structures and pipe work and stuff like that. So it's not going to be that dense as the Coral Reef District, where I had to cover up the whole terrain with rocks and foliage and stuff like that. That's not going to happen for this one. I think I'm going to use the terrain style brush to make sure that the terrain colors would perfectly fit this area. But that's the thing for later. For now, we're going to focus on first of all the underground section for the coaster area, and that will be just placing down a lot of pipe works, just as you see over here. Now, once you get a couple of different types of pipe work, you can easily copy paste them and use them on another section. Just resize them, adjust them a little bit, turn them around and stuff like that. So it's quite quick to have to create a theming like this. And I'm not going to cover up the terrain on this coaster. I do want to keep some open spaces that guests can actually have a look underneath the pathwork to see what's going on, and actually see the coaster launching before they enter the loop. And I think in this case, when you have a, how do I say that, it's a organized mess, because you can there's no how do I say that, you can just go all the way, and there's not a good or wrong in this case, because it doesn't have to be straight, it doesn't have to be perfectly lined up. You can go all the way with the pipe works, and that's just way more easy than trying to build a building which is similar on both sides. So, and I do need to say that I don't use the snap to position a lot, but when it comes to creating this pipework, I do need to say that it was very helpful that the game gives you the option to snap some pieces into position, and for the pipework it was great. It was a great option to use because it automatically fits onto the pipe that's already in place. So that's very helpful. Now I got the holding section over here. That's also the section where you have to walk over the holding section before you're going to enter the entrance area for this coaster. And I think that gives a nice view when you're entering the area for the coaster, and you see the coaster just a couple of seconds waiting before launch. And I think that's a small nice detail for the guests to see. And also one thing, and that's maybe also again a little bit nerdy, if I put the interval for this coaster on, I guess it was 27 or 28 seconds, the first coaster will run through its track, and then eventually when the second one comes, they are perfectly lined up on those two loopings which overrun the entrance for this whole section. And I will show that later when speed build is finished. And I think that's a nice view when you would enter this whole new area, that both coasters will go in different directions using those loops. And I also think one of the things that cost me a lot of time was just placing down these elements, these structures, and repainting them in the colors that I wanted. But eventually that will save you a lot of time because you can easily unpick those items which you want to use. And if you combine that with just reworking those pre-built buildings that are in the game, in this case for the aquatic theme, I think that speeds up the process of creating the things that you want for your coaster. I'm probably not going to finish the theming on this one in today's video. I think that just will be a video way too long. So I'm probably going to finish the underground section and the station area, and also add in some foliage just to give you guys an idea of what I'm going to do for the rest of the area. And like I said before, when you already get some pieces together and you get an idea of how things are going to be, you can easily copy that in the rest of your section. And that's mostly the way that I build my my new areas and my theme parks in this case. And I do need to say that we're coming quite along, because when this area is finished, I think this is the area which is the biggest still to make. The Olympic area will not be that big, and I'm going to use the dual racing coaster that I already built for a challenge Frontier dropped I think it's 2 months ago or so. So I'm going to use that coaster for the Olympic area, so that also saves me a lot of time. And there are a lot of pre-built Olympic mythic theming buildings already in the game, so that I think I can complete that section quite quickly. And after that, yeah, like I said before, one of the biggest things still remaining is the theming of the volcano and the aquatic coaster running through it. And I do need to be sure that the inside of the volcano is also themed, because there's a lot of pathwork inside the volcano that leads up to some flumes, but also some pools in that area. Now in this case I was struggling a little bit with the walls, because when you line them up perfectly, the corners do take a round shape. But when you don't have a piece that would fit or a grid piece that would fit the side of the wall, like in this case, and the corners don't shape that round as you would them to be, so I did try to cover that up as much as I can. What I also like about this one, and I usually cover up the whole station, but I think the foundation of this station fits perfectly with the rest of the theming. So I did leave a small section of the foundation of this station open, just to give the station a little bit more detail and to save me some time by not covering up that section. Now with adding the two coasters over in this section, you got the Tropical Stormchaser. I said it correctly this time, the Tropical Stormchaser, and the Deep Dive coaster, which is in the middle section of the Coral Reef district and this area. We've added two coasters to the Sunshine Scandinavia, and the first one that was the one in the beginning, which I placed down, is the Splintery, which is the pre-built one, and there will be a aquatic coaster in the volcano, and then eventually there will be the dueling wave coaster over in the Olympic area, and then we have, let me count it right. Okay, then we get 5. Well, if you would say the dueling coaster are 2 coasters, okay, but then we get 6 coasters in this park, 5 with different theming then, and I think that's enough for this Sunshine Scandinavia park. Eventually I'm also going to add in some flat rides for the Olympic team as well, so I guess that brings the total of flat rides to, I think it's 18, I guess. So you got 18 flat rides, and you got 6 coasters, and a lot of swimming pools, some flumes, and also some other nice things to see. And I think that will be a nice amount for Sunshine Scandinavia. And I do have to say that when any upcoming DLC will be released, I don't think I have the space to add that one in. The only space that I got is the small little Viking area over on the right side of the entrance, which now has 2 pools, and it's not a large Viking area, and I think I can say that I can delete that area to replace it by any new upcoming DLC packs. And because I do have a lot of Viking themed sections over on the left side, you got the gemstone, the Journey for Gemstone coaster on the left side with the whole theming around it, and you got a small Viking theming around the Splintery coaster, the wooden coaster. But I think that all depends on how quickly Frontier will be releasing a DLC for Planet Coaster 2. And maybe I got enough time to finish this park before any DLC comes out. So let's see how that will turn out. Now for the pipes, I used the light blue color, and I think I'm going to use the light blue color mostly on the surface, but also underneath the surface. So in this case, in the area where the coaster is running underground, and eventually I'm going to recolor them to the dark yellow color that's also in this building already, and I'm going to use the yellow ones mostly on any higher grounds. And I do have to say that I do check a lot of YouTube videos of other players playing Planet Coaster 2, and I've seen such an amazing creations already with the 4 base themes that we got in this game, and I think you can go all the way with the theming we already got. So I'm quite curious what will happen if any new DLC will be released, and what kind of things people can create with those pieces in combination with the pieces that we already got. So kind of excited for that one. And I do need to say I got about 270 hours in this game right now. I spent most of those hours on Sunshine Scandinavia because that is the thing I do want to finish before any new DLC comes out. So that gives me time to actually work on or work with the new DLC. And I guess yeah, like I said, I do need. It took me about, I guess, 200 hours this park so far. I think the other 50 or 60 hours I spent mostly on creating some custom coasters, like the Journey for Gemstone coaster, which was a separate video, and also the Dueling Wave coaster, but that took me, I think, about 10 hours a video. So most of the hours are in this Sunshine Scandinavia series, and I think I do still need around 50 hours or so to actually complete this park. And one thing I'm not quite good at is the adding in lights during my builds. I mostly add in lights afterwards. I think it's quite easy to add in. I need to say I do prefer adding lighting later, because you can easily add in lighting when it's darker, and you can set your time to a darker time, to nighttime, to speed up the progress of adding all those lights. Because when you use the custom lights or the pre-built lights that are actually in the game, sometimes the lighting does not actually work with the new area. So I do prefer to add in the lighting all at once. But in this case, I added in already lighting to the ground section of this coaster. Now we're almost at the end of this speed build. Afterwards, I'm just going to show you guys the things that we built so far in real time, and see how the coaster runs already through this scenery in this case. Just adding in some last planters and some last trees and stuff like that, just to give it a little bit more detail to this area. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what we did today and the things that we still need to do for this coaster, because this coaster just has a lot of terrain to work with, and I have to put in a little bit more detail than I did right now. But we got the first section ready, and I think this just gives me an idea of how I'm going to theme the rest of the area. You got the coaster station over on this side, and you got a nice section underneath the pathwork, which is the holding section for the coaster, but also the launch section. Now you got the second area where the coaster runs through over on this side, and I'm going to add some of the same theming that I used on the Moonlight Beach over in the area where the coaster is running through. And that's mostly because I do want to have a nice transition between those rocks and the theming that I'm going to use in the new section that we're building. And yeah, this was something I was talking about earlier. If you put the interval of this coaster on 27-28 seconds, you get them running on the same time in the loop over the pathwork over here, and it just gives a little bit nice detail to the area for the guests when they actually pass through this gate to the new area over on this side. So yeah, that's it for today's build. I do need to say that I love the use of foliage in this area. I think it fits perfectly again with the theming. And maybe also again a little bit nerdy, but I use these corals as a type of bush or a type of tree, and yeah, I think that adds something non-realistic, but maybe something out of this world to this area. And I'm quite happy with those, and I made a few just to have I guess 4 or 5 types to choose from and use in this section. But hey, we still got a lot of things to do for this coaster at first. So thank you for watching, and I hope to see you guys very soon in the next video, where we're going to complete this one and start working on the rest of the area of the Coral Reef district. So thank you for watching, and hope to see you guys very soon. Bye bye.